Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025, and it is 5:30 p.m. At this time, Councilwoman Seals will lead us in the invocation, and Councilman Graham will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us each and every day, and we are so grateful for the rains that you have brought to us that we desperately needed. We ask for your continued protection for our military, law enforcement, and all those that serve to protect us each and every day. We ask for your continued guidance and wisdom here tonight as we make decisions for our community that will make it a better community, a thriving community, and a community with enhanced quality of life. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll ask you if you have your cell phone, please put it on silent. And are there any public comments?
I will, Mayor. Many of you know that we're coming up on Easter season, and another organization had started an Easter egg hunt, and then another one took it over, and the city has taken it over for the past couple, 2-3 years. And I'd like to just kind of issue a challenge if everyone can donate 2 or 3 dozen or 150, as our mayor did, yay, or just some candy to help fill all those eggs. You know, it is for the community, it's for our kids. It's a great event, and just like to issue that challenge to each and every one of you. So, Rippin.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Can we catch some of that?
Hands on. It's for the kids.
Any other public comments? Okay, we will go on to the consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the March 27th, 2025 regular city council meeting. Item E2, review March 2025 PD call report. And E3, review the expenditure report.
Charles, I just have one question on page 50, financials. The Liberty fireworks, is that for last year, or is that to go ahead and get them secured for this year?
That's securing them for this year, and my plan is to have the conversation with the county. And last year, the county wanted to participate. I expect that we'll get
Some participation on that. Very good. Excellent. Planning for the future.
Charles, how close are we to getting some financials for the city to consider
internal or audit.
internal?
Internal,
I'd love to see audit.
I can give you internal next meeting, Randy.
Okay.
Give you year-to-date internal.
In comparison to the budget?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. If it's okay, I will give it to you on the major funds, because if I give it to you on every fund, it's going to be pretty thick.
No, that's not.
Yeah,
That's bedtime story reading for him.
yeah, it is. I mean, but he and I like that kind of stuff, so
Yeah.
it's kind of fun.
So how's the audit? You mentioned that.
Audit is going well. We just, as you all instructed me, we hired and extended the offer to get the consultant to come in and help with the piece that I haven't been able to take a look at. They started yesterday with meetings, and they're working on some stuff right now. I would anticipate FY21 should be done, I'm going to say July, August, maybe sooner. I don't want to be too aggressive. 22 and 23 will follow right after that simultaneously. I'm hoping to have those done by September or October, and then we'll be fully caught up with 2024 by, I'm hoping, December. And then we'll stay on track to where it'll be within 180 days as requested by our bond council and covenant.
Sounds good.
Any other questions? Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilman Saldana to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. We're going to skip to item F9. Discussion of Chamber of Commerce CVB Operations Strategic Goal 5, promote open and consistent communications. Charles Leno.
Mayor and Council, Charles Leno, City Manager. This is an item that Council had requested that we put on there, and we all know that there's been some things going on recently that all of us are aware of. And what I did is I had conversations, very good conversations this past week, more than a week ago now. I guess time gets away when you're having fun. But I had conversations with Matt Elliott as well as a couple of others, with Matt representing the chamber, and I asked him to come here and come up here and give you all an update on whatever he can on that. We do have I think he and I had a plan in place, but I want him to share it and give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. Matt?
Good evening, Council. So Charles and I had talked last week. As many of y'all are aware, Mr. Keys turned in his resignation. We are in the process of getting our financials ready. I believe that'll be on the next agenda for y'all, so we can bring our quarterly financials before everybody. The conversation we had last week was moving forward. If we're going to continue moving forward, and the board is unanimous in the fact that we would like to continue moving forward, just so everybody's aware, we did have a special meeting this week. We addressed it as a board. We talked about if there's a possibility to continue, then the entire board, probably for the first time in a long time, is on the same page that we feel that there's enough youth on there, enough people that are enough diversity on there to where we should continue to try to salvage what we have. And for those of y'all who are aware, 2 years in a row we've passed an audit, which is probably more than could have been said years ago. So our conversation led to, our goal would be to have a national search, go out, spend some time, and truly find somebody who has the experience, who's done something in a similar community as ours. We're very unique. I know we can compare ourselves to Monahans, to Fort Stockton, Kermit, but the reality is our communities is still different than theirs, and we need to meet the goals of our community. We need to, it needs to be a community search. It doesn't just need to be done by the members of our board. We need to have input from all the local entities and essentially a town hall meeting, and we need to see what everybody's input is going to be. With that being the conversation we had, I did broach that to our board, and really we're just wanting to see where everybody else stands, which is one reason why we have this on the agenda tonight. I'm well aware there's going to be some different opinions. The good, bad, and the ugly is what it is. So whatever y'all's opinion is really essentially what's going to matter moving forward. The board our board of directors is willing to continue, and like I said, that's one of the few things that we've all been on the same page with in years. So with that being said, that's kind of what we talked about. 6 to 9 months is what we think it'll take to do a national search, assuming that we have meetings with all the local entities, we have meetings with our community, we have meetings with our business leaders in town, and we give enough time to get input from everybody while we're out searching, and then we perform the interviews, give somebody time to get here. The other side to that would be that individual, when we go to that level, they're going to want some time, and so with us having those conversations with everybody, with the different entities, with the community, we would hope that we would be able to get on the same page to where we could give them enough time to make the changes that they want to make when they get here, and implement whatever strategies that they would like to implement. So that's kind of what we talked about. If I misspoke on anything, please correct me.
In the meantime, while you're waiting 6 to 8 months, how's the chamber going to function? How are the business paying members to get what they deserve?
Well, and those are conversations we need to have. We were, like I said, we're all wanting this to continue, and we're a few members short. We did have our treasurer resign, so we do have a few positions to fill still, but to have the support that we have right now on the board does feel a little different. Just personally, just for me to be able to come up here and speak on it. And Cyrus, she's able to speak as well. We don't know what the plan is right now, just to be honest with you. We want this to continue. We're open to suggestions. I do think our best course of action right now would be to have these conversations and to sit down and figure out what everybody wants at this moment. I think there's a lot invested. Obviously, the city council was invested. Our county commissioners are invested, but we need to hear from everybody else. An interim would be a lot easier to find that has experience than someone who wants to do this long term. And there are a group of individuals out there that go from town to town and fill in as interims while you're doing searches, and they'll help lead them. We just have to reach out, and if that's the course that everybody wants to go down, then that's what we need to do, is reach out to them and see who's available. If it's going to be a group effort, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 of them doing it kind of as a committee, where one might be here for a couple weeks and then another one might rotate in. So I think there's a few options. It all really, what it boils down to right now is like the conversation when we had last year when I was here, is if this didn't work out, we were going to come back and see what everybody wanted to do. And so I feel like y'all deserve that, and y'all deserve to have a say in it as well.
How many board members do you have?
I believe we have 9 right now. Yeah.
Is that down?
Yes.
What did it used to be?
We're at 12, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're missing 3?
We are. Paul resigned, and then we had 2 that we were going to fill. We were essentially going to fill those at our annual banquet. So
One of those 2 your treasurer?
yes. No,
Is
ma'am.
that in addition?
There were 10, and then now we're down to 9 with Paul resigning.
Do you have anybody asking to come in? Any interested people
For the
positions?
I've had a few locals text me, but once again, I think it's something that either way we'd have to open the position up. I haven't reached out to anybody. I don't know if anybody else on our board has. If they have, we didn't talk about it on Monday. But either way, we need to do our due diligence. And that's kind of what these conversations are for. It's going to take some thought, like I've.
What I meant was, like, Paul resigned as a treasurer. I think Paul was a treasurer.
Yes, sir.
Have you got people that are going to fill those slots?
It's hard for that. That's the one position that's hard to get, because everybody that unless you're in unless you have that expertise or that knowledge, people are real leery of being that position. I've asked around. I've even asked some people on the board on y'all's council if they know anybody that would like to serve on that position, and we've hit dead ends. We've asked a few people, but their time constraints or that position itself has been the issue.
Does the treasurer have to sign checks?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you handling that right now?
Well, there's other board members that can. Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
You have 3 or 4 that can sign.
right now we have 4, yes, ma'am, including, we added John, obviously, on there, so that right now, so he could fill in whenever. It's a dual signature, yes.
I've always been a big supporter of the chamber. And, you go stay 9 months, how you've got employees, how are they going to get paid, and making money. But when I first got on the council 4 years ago, the same problems, the same talk, the same ideas. Nothing's happened in 4 years. We need to do something different.
I agree.
And but I haven't heard you say anything different. It's just it's frustrating, and I know it's frustrating for y'all too. But do we need to shut her down for 6 months and then come back and try to reorganize? We need the chamber.
I agree, and that was the consensus with our board as well. The chamber is needed here in our community. At this point, we're needing to figure out how that's going to continue happening, because as you've said, some of these same problems have been reoccurring.
So I'm sitting here right now with that in mind. I'm not thinking this is going to happen.
Sure.
So, unless y'all feel otherwise. But I just, and in the meantime, how are you going to pay employees?
Are you talking about with revenue, or we've got 2? Yes, ma'am. Are you, I mean, what's the question? Are you asking how are we going to, like, how are we going to support them with revenue, or?
Because,
Are you
you know,
gonna be
just,
able-
you just had your, I
w-
heard
w-
what happened to the banquet, nobody was organized, you know, so we had to call it off, nobody had ordered the food, catering, nobody got the speaker in, it's kind of a fiasco.
Well, the food had been ordered, or the food was prepared. We had the meeting that day to discuss the banquet, so that, because the deadline was the next day. So if we were going to cancel our caterer, we were going to cancel the entertainment, we had to do it by that next day. So some of that stuff was in line. I will be transparent, our speaker backed out, and then they did not fill the position with the speaker until right before then. And some of the members of the board didn't feel that that was an adequate speaker.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there has been a national search before for a chamber director, and we didn't find anybody. So,
Do you know who he used for it?
I don't know.
Yeah. That must have been before my time.
But yeah,
Then it's gonna be hard to find somebody from a larger city or somebody with
I don't even
adequate
remember. It
experience.
could have been, I think it was.
I think it
when
was to the
yeah,
hotel association.
Texas Hotel Lodging Association.
There are organizations that'll lead these searches. We just have to, we have to engage with them. And if that's what
I
the,
think Kurt kind of headed that up before.
So while you search for a director, is our chamber still working,
yes, sir.
you know, going after,
Yes, sir.
you know, helping the businesses and all that?
We're scheduling events. So for instance, we've got a few that are coming up. Obviously, we've got Golden Girl, Little Miss Cantaloupe, but we'll have some events during Rodeo Week as well. We had already kind of broached the topic of moving Night in Pecos last year to later on in the year. We were kind of leaning towards that. A few of us had talked about that. Now with everything going on, we're for sure going to push Night in Pecos back. But it's not we don't want to cancel it. We want to move it back to a time that's going to fit better. So we still have events going on. We have our oil expo that's going to come in September, October, and then anything else that gets brought before us. I mean, we're helping out with other events. We're going to help out Mr. Zubaldia when he has his golf tournament. We're helping with some of the registration on it. We're helping with marketing some of it. But any of our other chamber members that have things going on, we're there for them still. I misspoke earlier. We have 2 full-time employees and we have 1 part-time employee. We have somebody that is doing our marketing and advertising as a part-time position right now. The individual has worked with other chambers. He's going to school. His degree does focus with nonprofit work, chamber work, and so he is helping us part-time. So we're still in the works. We just do not have the executive director.
So how are you distinguishing chamber from CBB events?
The only event we have right now going on that we're actively engaged in right now with the chamber is Golden Girl, Little Miss Cantaloupe. The other ones they should be coming before the hot board and the and city council for some events they'd like to do during Rodeo Week, which I think is which is going to be new to our community or coming back. Some of these events I think they had back in the past, but some of those, our rodeo brings in so much revenue for us. It's only going to benefit them to have events during that time that include other people, right? So we want to attract people from outside our community for those events. So those are things that should be coming up. I don't know if John ever got with you to set anything up on that or not, but we did talk about that.
Yes, he's gonna meet with me next week so we can get all that together.
I have a question. I'm just confused because you guys are trying to plan events during rodeo, but Night in Pecos doesn't have the resources to continue. We know Night in Pecos is huge in our community.
Sure.
So I don't understand why we're trying to reinvent the wheel, I guess. Night in Pecos has typically been a really successful event and it brings a lot of folks in. I'm not sure why we're moving away from an event that's been.
I can speak to that one. So they did ask me how, because I put on I Didn't Know Pecos last year, and it was put on very last minute. I started basically the end of April, mid-May. It was a lot. It was disorganized. We had maybe 4 chamber members that were there helping me. It was a great event, but on the chamber's end, we looked at it financially and logistically, it did not work out. And from my recommendation, I recommended if we move it back this year, and we need to start getting a procedure manual together for all events, like this is A, B, C, D, this is how it's gonna work, because the disorganization of it last year, it hurt us because we did lose money on that event. So that was my recommendation.
And why is it that nobody, I mean, I guess was involved in it? It used to be this huge, is it just
I
people are
believe-
busier now, or people don't want to help, or what? I don't know.
It's
I don't
hard
know.
to get volunteers, and then I believe just because it was put on so last minute, people had events going on already, so it's hard to get people to commit to help. So that's why we want to give more time to hopefully tell everyone, okay, it's going to happen in 4 months, please don't book a trooper.
And there was a lot, I mean, because y'all moved it to right after Golden Girl, you know, in between Golden Girl and the
And
rodeo. And I
That
know
was
years
hard.
back, it was kind of like that, and then it got moved to the 4th Saturday in July. One, to give an opportunity for people to come back to Pecos. And, you know, so that it wasn't 10 days of everyone trying to volunteer at the same time. And so, you know, I don't know if July is the best time. One of the reasons it got moved from June to July too was it was called at the time Night No Pecos and Cantaloupe Festival, and the cantaloupes weren't really ready in June. So, you know, it's like you either got to take the cantaloupe part out or move it to when the cantaloupes were actually in season.
Yeah, so that was a discussion we had too, bringing it back to a Cantaloupe Festival, having it early August or so, and giving us more time to hopefully get more volunteers, because like we said, we have a smaller board now, but we kind of try to tell each other like, okay, you try to get 4 volunteers, you get 4, and yeah, so hopefully it'll be a bit more organized, and we'll have the help logistic to get it done.
So have you kind of got a date already set for that particular event? You know, say middle part of August or early part of September?
Not yet.
You know, where you can, like you said, organize it better for you. You give time for volunteers to, you know, to wanna. And you know, one of the things about All Night in Pecos, in June or July, it's hot. It's real hot. Which really, it doesn't matter once you're out there, because you're out there because you want to be out there. But if you set it up, now we don't want to get involved or hinder the fall fair or anything like that, but there's plenty of weekends between the latter part of July through, what, October for the
Maybe
fair?
September, October, yeah.
That you can plan that, and maybe then some of this other folks can actually start stepping up, especially with school starting back up. And now that everybody's back, because you can take vacation then.
Yeah, and
So-
those were our thoughts exactly, and we want John and the office staff to go ahead and focus on the rodeo events that they have planned so far, and that was another reason for the banquet to get pushed back, and we felt like we were just bombarding them with so many events to get put on, and where they weren't getting the help volunteer-wise, committee-wise to put on the events. It's a lot to put on an event, so that's why we said focus on this one, and then later down the road, we'll go get to this one. We want to give them time between events to get organized and put on successful events.
You know, one of the things that I believe that makes a community grow, and especially when you're trying to grow the community with businesses coming in, but also when we're trying to do little, you know, the fireworks, for instance. You know, last year we had at the park, the city put together and that was fun. But it's building the relationship. We need to start learning how to build relationship between not only the chamber, but the CVB with people. And making the opportunity, it's like we told the Cyclone. Cyclone is not known. We spend all this money building something, but it's not advertised. And it's advertised on radio and all that, but a lot of people don't see social media. I don't. I know because I go out there. And I like baseball and I like all this stuff, I'm involved. But it's building a relationship with people. And actually, sometimes going door to door and asking her, hey, this is what we got going in this guy. That's why I told those guys, hey, you're gonna promote Cyclone, you better go out there. The baseball team better be out there, the Pecos is gonna be here. They got to be known. If not, nothing happens. If not, you know, Syra is well known and they know who she is. But if more people got involved, and you know, I don't mind getting involved because I'm involved anyway in all kinds of sports and stuff, but it's building a relationship that keeps people coming back to, hey, how can I help? But it's building those relationships, and that's what's gonna make this town well-known, is the relationships that we have between the businesses, their customers, the people, the council with the commissioner, just all the entities are working together because we know how to talk to each other. It's not my group, your group, it's Pecos. And that's what we gotta see. It's about Pecos, it's about our people. And I know a lot of people don't wanna get involved, they like being there, don't get one in, but there's people out there, maybe they don't know how to come to you or to any of us and say, how can I help? And that's an opportunity that we need to open up, either on the radio, get on the radio and say, hey, we're trying to plan this, I need volunteers. And let's see what happens. And if nobody shows up, I say, okay, then we try something else.
And I don't want to forget Ms. Trujillo's question over here, but one of the reasons why we're working with other events that week is because we're partnering with the Rodeo Committee and the Hall of Fame Committee to put on some of these events, which is something we talked about last year, is working with other people, right? So it kind of goes to what you were saying, is building those relationships, getting to know people. I do believe we've done a better job at it so far this year. There's still room for improvement, and we recognize that, which is one of the things we talked about when we had our nominations committee meeting. Is we need to go out there as a chamber to fill these nominations, right? So when we're looking for Business of the Year, where we're looking for to give out these awards, we need to do that better job. We can't expect people to come to us all the time. So I think everything y'all are saying, I mean, they're all things we're discussing and we're trying to take into consideration the best we can. There's just a lot of factors that play into it. And as y'all know, Mr. Keese was heavy on the rodeo, right? I mean, he's been in it for decades, so he had kind of pushed John that way, and that's great. I think bridging those gap is very needed right now. So there's more out there we can do. It just all depends if that's what everybody wants done.
Well, I like what Cyrus said, though, to get organized and I'd like to see the list of events you're going to do and how you're going to do them and how they're going to be funded, so you can get a projection of the income for the rest of the year.
Right.
And is it a chamber or a CBB?
And I had talked to Kirk when I first got on the chamber. I'm at the council, and he was wanting to spin off the CBB and build an office out at the Maxey Park, and I like that idea. I still think we need to spin them off, and I don't know how to organize that. But anyway,
now's the time for those.
Do something like that. Get something in writing, and that way we can read it here too and see, well, are they doing it or not?
Yeah, and we set expectations for John the other day, and he said, okay, well, now I have a clear idea of what y'all want, so I can get to work. And I can say, honestly, since I've gotten on the board, I feel like this board is one of the most supportive boards that I've seen. They want to support the staff, they want to put everything on the staff, and they're saying, what can we do to help? And what have we done that in the past that didn't work to make it work now?
Yeah, you said manuals and stuff too. That would be a great idea. Yeah.
And kind of going back to your list, I know there's another community that they have their list of established events, and actually towards the last quarter sometime, when they send out for renewing your membership, they send out the list of events saying, where are you going to volunteer at and what are you going to help sponsor? So they already kind of have a built-in, group of who they can call, depend on. And, that might be an idea to try and see if you can get some sponsors and volunteers up front, and they know ahead of time when this is coming, so they don't plan vacation at that event. And, it's like, well, I'm not going to be here now. And, so maybe something like that would help with the list.
We agree. That's one of the things that we had tasked Mr. Keese with, so it'll be something the board will have to pick up from here on out. But I think we heard a lot of the concerns that y'all had last year, and we try to implement them the best we could. Some of them are partially started, some of them aren't started, I mean, just to be frank. So a lot of those things are things we're gonna have to get committees going to do, which goes back to what Cyra's talking about, is it's hard to get volunteers. So when we had Night in Pecos and Lomas Cantaloupe right next to each other, I mean, last year, you're well aware, we had over 40 volunteers for Lomas Cantaloupe. Well, when you only have 6, 7, 8 for Night in Pecos, that's a hard event to run.
And that, I know, Acting Mr. Keys was the one that coined the phrase, the Tired 20, that in the 10 days of, because, I won't say that, but it was just one thing after another, and you were basically drawing from your same group of volunteers, and by the end of 10 days, we were worn out, I mean, to be honest.
Right.
And that was another reason why we moved Night in Pecos out, just to give us kind of a day or two of kind of rest and recuperation between Golden Girl and Lomas Cantaloupe, and to start with the rodeo and help them out.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of these things we're learning the hard way. We did it last year back-to-back because we thought we were going to be able to secure hot funds to have a 2-day event, and then we had already announced we were going to do it that day. The funds did not come through, so we were kind of in the position where we just needed to go ahead and have it.
Why
So
did the funds not come through?
they got denied by the hot board.
What?
They were denied by the hot board.
Why?
I couldn't tell you. But
Back to the chamber, by the time Mr. Keys was hired and resigned, did you get any new members?
yes, sir. We did, yes, sir. And we'll bring those at our next meeting. That way y'all can see. And that kind of goes to building those relationships that we talked about. I do believe it takes a little while to get in front of these oil companies, these service companies. You know, by the time we hired Mr. Keese and we got Mr. Perrin on board, a lot of these companies already had budgets set. So yes, they can find a little bit of room in there, but to get them at the level that we think they can get at in the future, I mean, now's the time right now. I mean, now we're talking to them, so when they set their budget in August, September, October, we're on there. So then the following year, those funds really hit.
Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of businesses run October through the end of September.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to catch them early.
Yep. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been a good learning experience. I do feel like John's been out there knocking on doors. There's been a lot of no's, like he likes to say, but eventually, you know, I think we'll be able to see what their needs are and figure out a way where the chamber and the CVB can meet those needs, because a lot of these companies, they have needs locally, but like the Oil Expo, I think John listened to a lot of people right off the bat, and the first thing that people started saying is, we need to be able to hire people. Well, that expo is going to be a way where we're going to have a hiring event there, and it should be utilized by a lot of our not only members, but a lot of our companies just around town.
Where y'all gonna have this expo?
At the Civic Center.
It's not booked?
No, we found a weekend that wasn't. Well, I take that back. It's not a weekend. It's actually like a Thursday, Friday event. So we have it during the week so that these executives from the different companies are able to be here and be present with it.
A lot of them don't like to give up their weekend.
No, they do not.
I need to address the elephant in the room. We all know Mr. Keese's resignation letter made it into the newspaper, and disappointment is, I don't know, it's worse than disappointment. As a council member, as a citizen, as somebody that's volunteered their time, how are you and the other board members going to prevent something from happening again? Because it's the communication, I don't want to, I just have to address it. I have to ask it, I'm like, I have to.
Sure.
So how do we change that? And we need to, that is not what I think Pecos culture is. That is not Pecos pride. It was very disappointing, embarrassing. How is that going to change?
Sure. First off, Mr. Keese did not give that letter to the newspaper. So somehow the letter was able to obtain, the newspaper was able to obtain that letter. Mr. Keese texted every board member this morning and apologized and said that he was not a part of that. He never intended for it to make it to that level. And I wholeheartedly believe him, and I respect him for reaching out to us like that. Secondly, that article was written without any kind of investigation. So I'm not going to get into what happened, personal, it's not professional to sit here and talk about everything that happened. I can, however, tell you that a lot of the things that were addressed in that letter, we do have in our bylaws, and we have to follow procedures for our bylaws. So I can't really get into all what happened with our previous employer, but it's an unfortunate deal. I do wish that the editor, who obviously does not live here in Pecos and does not sound like he has Pecos in his heart, he did not reach out to anybody on the board or the chamber, and I really wish he would have, but I can't control that.
I'm glad you said that Mr. Keys texted y'all and apologized. That just goes to show what.
His character.
Yes.
what
No, I agree.
type of character that he is, a strong man of character, but on the other side, the editor is fishing to sell newspaper.
Sure. And that's his prerogative. But I do respect Mr. Keese for doing that and saying that. It is unfortunate that it made it out. I do not know how it made it out, but we are where we are right now.
And so he should lose himself.
So I guess the question is if we are wanting to continue, it sounds like there's kind of a mixed signals, or not mixed signals, but just mixed feelings right now. It might be best to have another meeting. A lot of the board members would like to sit down with the city council and have those frank discussions. I think we just need to, if y'all are willing, we need to set a time to do it.
We did it last time over there. Not a lot of you board members showed up.
We talked about that, and that was one of the things. But like we've both said, I feel like we have a different board now. At that time, it was the tired 5 or 6 at the time. We'd been beat down. We'd been volunteering for every event. It just was. I think you'll have a different outcome this time.
You got a meeting here, back here, and your plan, which I approved of, was to get somebody in, and they make half their salary on commissions, and you could get somebody pretty good that way, and that never materialized.
No, we presented something else after conversations with other, within the board itself, within some of the county, and what we presented was that the chamber itself was going to cover the commission. So that's how we have it structured right now, is all the commission is paid for through chamber funds.
Well, and I guess maybe another elephant in the room might be who's going to be doing, if someone's being paid by hot funding and they're doing chamber work, that's kind of an issue on how the funds are being utilized.
So
Who's going to be actually out trying to get the memberships in this interim period?
like I said earlier, we've got 2 full-time employees and a part-time employee, so it's going to have to be some sort of hybrid model. Clearly, John is in charge of the CVB. He's the manager of the CVB. Lorena was doing a little bit of work for whatever she needed. And then Adriel Crossgrove is our part-time employee who is doing our marketing and advertising. There's room for any of them to go out and do it. They're paid, they're obviously going to be paid separately, right? So
I guess my question is, if John's out doing chamber work, is he charging the chamber for going out and getting those memberships when he should be on CBD time?
yes, ma'am. His commission is paid for by the chamber.
Well, I'm not saying commissions on the memberships. I'm saying his time when he's supposed to be a CBB, but he's doing chamber stuff. Because that was supposed to be 2 different positions. The county was funding the chamber and the city was doing the CBB portion.
Correct. Well, yes, ma'am. I think that's how it was discussed here. The county discussed it differently. The county said they were going to do a 50-50 all the way across the board. But I do understand what you're saying. And I think if you talk to John, or even if you talk to Mr. Keese when he was an employee of ours, I think they would say they both went hand in hand. So I think either one of them would argue with you that they could be there having discussions about CVB and chamber at the same time. So if you're wanting somebody to come in and have a conversation about the CVB and then leave and then come back and have one about the chamber, that's something we can discuss. But I do think that would kind of be a waste of time. To have 2 employees doing the same thing that one employee could do much more efficiently.
business and chamber business has been separated.
I agree. And that's why John has made it a point that this Oil Expo is a CVB event, and he's pushing that with everybody that he has. And he's done very well with it. I think he's already got a lot of, yes, I think he's already got a lot of interest in it, and interest from people that aren't even chamber members. So I think that would I think that would further the argument on the fact that some of these people that are wanting to be a part of it aren't even chamber members right now.
That's why I'd like to see the other option of separating those two
Sure.
and standalone.
And like I said, that this is the time for those conversations, because we as a chamber, the promise that was made to y'all when y'all approved the funds for this year was that if this didn't work out, we would come back. And that's where we're at right now. As a board, we did discuss that we would like to continue moving forward. We do feel more confident now in what's going on with our board and with the experiences we've had. But we need it to be something where everybody's on the same page. And in order to do that, we felt that we would need to have conversations. So we need to have meetings about it, not just with y'all, but other entities as well. And then have some business meetings with our business leaders of the community, and just see where, what everybody's standpoint is. And as it was mentioned earlier, we would like to see what we can do to better ourselves. Mistakes we made in the past, how we can correct them.
Charles, I know you're really busy, but I'd like to hear your opinion sometime. Not today.
Well, I think what would be good is, I think what I would like to do, Randy, to that point is maybe work with Cyrus to put together a meeting where we could have that joint meeting like we did last time. If we have the commitment from the chamber that when we schedule it, that we get the committee members here, because it's going to take that. They are scheduled to present.
In the evening because of work.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Conflict.
Totally agree. And in the conversations, the quarterly reporting will be coming at our next meeting. So it probably would behoove us to try to squeeze it in between then and have that meeting and try to get that done so that everybody's on the same page. All the questions can be asked. We can sit in that meeting. I can tell you what I think, get input and feedback from you all too, so that we're all on the same page and we're not doing that or we're trying to come, because I think everybody knows that we need to come together. There's no doubt about it. And I've mentioned to anybody who's asked me that I think the chamber is vital to our community. CVB is too. It's great. And I want CVB to work out the right way. But the chamber, I think, is vital because we have to make sure that we're representing the businesses here. And in order for us, we've got a lot of irons in the fire with new businesses that we're trying to get in. And I want every single one of them to be a member of the chamber. So we have to do that. And I think it's going to take a little bit of thought. It's going to probably take some hard conversations. But I think if we all get together and have that, we put a notice of quorum out, it would not be we couldn't make any decisions at the meeting. It would be more of just like a workshop. And that's what I'm proposing. And I'll work with Syra and have her work with the chamber board to try to put that together to when it's convenient for hers. You don't want to do it next Tuesday, do you?
I'll be sleeping the rest of the day. But I guess, we've had these meetings before with no results. What can we do to make sure we get results this time?
Well, the one thing that we can do is with the reporting that's coming back with next week or in 2 weeks, we hold the purse strings for $137,000 that we are going to distribute in quarterly amounts. Okay? That's how we control it. If the council's not there, they're not obligated to do that. They can say, you know what, well, you didn't fulfill your commitment to that, we're not going to fulfill this. And then it's going to just be, there's no way that, even with the county money, that the chamber's probably going to be viable anymore.
And that's why I want Syra, them to organize and put this down on paper so we can see, and it's kind of
Yeah, okay, and then we put some thresholds or some criteria on there that are measurable, Randy, that we can come back and say, okay, let's review this in 3 months. Okay, did we hit these criteria?
Metrics.
Check them all, check the box, absolutely. Because it's the only way that we're going to be able to, and I think the chamber would appreciate that, to where as long as it's a collaboration that we're putting it together and we're not putting something out there that, you know what, we know there's no way you can get to this point and you're going to fail. It doesn't do anybody any good to do that. So it has to be really out well. I agree, it needs to be documented and put together, and see what we can get done that way.
Well, I know the chamber has had a lot of struggles. It's hard to always be on a board where things aren't just sailing smoothly across the seas. So I would just like to say thank you to the board members for hanging in there. I know you've gotten some new ones on, and, you know, they seem to be more engaged, and that's awesome. And need to say, you know, there had been another big hurdle that happened December 20th that no one planned on, and that hasn't helped the situation either. It's never nice to be homeless. And so that's a whole nother struggle that y'all are dealing with. And, you know, when you don't have a home base, it's kind of hard to really operate well. So I would just like to say thank you to the board and to the employees there for hanging in there, because it's tough. You know, you don't always feel appreciated, and, you know, sometimes it's just part of working through some issues, and, you know, it's not an easy task. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll go to item F1, discuss, consider approving 5 drilling permit applications as submitted by Citavas Permian Operating LLC. This is under Stupid Gold Run, Sustainable Economic Development, Brett Garza, CIDI Regulatory.
Yes. Thank you for having us, Council. Appreciate that time. My name's Joe Martin. Brett did not make it today. He's on the regulatory department, but since the issues around drilling a well, I represent the drilling team for Civitas in Midland, Texas. I've lived there about 6 years, and I brought our lead drilling superintendent on the drilling side to help me with different questions about executing the pad. Purpose of the issue today is just to discuss a 5-well pad that we have about a mile south off Highway 17, just south of the landfill, and the execution of basically spudding the 5 wells and making sure that we have the proper sound walls and the safety considerations that we think we need to drill that well safely. We have a different approach to drilling wells, and we've James here, our lead superintendent's drilled there for about 10 years south of town, and has learned a great deal of safety considerations that we wanted to put forth in front of the council. We actually had a great meeting with Mr. Lino and his team back in February to bring up the issue and make sure that we had another discussion ahead of this. So I'm going to bring up James Woolhood, who will kind of go through some of the considerations we're discussing.
How are y'all doing today, guys? Yeah, I know that I believe that it's been submitted for the permitting, and we talked about placing the sound walls on the north side and then the west side, making sure that we kept the sound away from any of the residents, and then making sure that we protected the office at the landfill as well. As we know that Reeves County is an H9 area, which is hydrogen sulfide, can be emitted from the ground while drilling, correct? And one of the reasons that we didn't want to do the 3 sound walls all the way across it is because of the southerly winds coming in and putting the workers actually in harm's way. So we're planning on having 2 rigs move in at one time and complete the drilling operations. So on the west side of the pad, it's one large pad with 375 foot between the well centers, 3 on the west and then 2 on the east, where we'll have 2 rigs there rigged up. At the same time, they'll be simultaneously drilling. With the southerly winds blowing, it'll be blowing it back towards the east, and there's nothing towards the east that would be in jeopardy of anything at all. I know that if you look on Google Earth, or if you spend some time down there just south, we know that we have to have the sound walls on the north to protect the people that are actually working at the landfill themselves in the office there because of the louder decibel levels. And then we're still about 2,000 feet from Highway 17 there in the railroad tracks themselves. So we will cover that as well if y'all approve. And then to the south, there's truly nothing there up to the point where I know that this area has been annexed into the city limits here recently. But we've got about a 4,000 foot gap to the closest structure, which looks to be someone's shed or something, possibly what it is. So I don't think that anybody's technically living in there. It's not a living space. So just the thoughts on getting this put through and moving ahead with the permitting here.
Y'all have monitors, what'd you say?
Yeah, we have H2S monitors on location. With the compliance, we've worked through the contingency plan for any H2S. We have H2S monitors on location. The workers personally wear them on them. We have a very thorough process that we work through. And when we're in the vertical portions of the wells, due to the injection, I know there's some injection wells that are in the city of Pecos limits. With that being said, with the injection, sometimes it creates the bacteria that drives the H2S out of what they're calling the Delaware Mountain Group is what it is. Starts at about 4,500 foot and it clears up about 7,000 foot where they have the injection zone set up. We have very strict procedures on the way that we handle things. If we flare or whatever it is, and then we'll follow our contingency plan 100%, making sure that we mitigate any error or any emergency response for anybody at all.
So your 5 wells are actually on one big pad?
Yes, sir.
Separated with a space between?
Yes,
3
sir.
and 2?
So on the north side of the pad, it's 645 foot wide. It runs along the property line of the landfill itself. It's 400 foot as discussed from the well stake on the west side to the landfill office there. And then down the south side, the west side of the pad, it's 320 foot is what it is.
So after they've been drilled and completed, you're still gonna have monitoring?
Yes, sir, there will be monitoring there as well.
And probably a great deal of the H2S would take place, that exposure in the H9 would take place during the drilling phase. And then the
Yes.
sound walls really protect during the completion of the wells. That's probably when you're going to get the most benefit out of the sound walls.
Yeah.
It's just our perspective on trapping gas near employees isn't the right, that's not the approach that we typically take. So having swift wind movement from kind of southwest to northeast is the safer option. And that's really what it's all about. It's not about capital or money. It's just about the safety of the guys on the rigs.
So the sound walls on the north?
We will have
Because of
that.
Because of the landfill
The
itself,
dump-
yes.
Yeah,
On the east, there's nothing?
There's nothing to the east of us, no, sir. And then on the south, it's 4,000 foot, like I said, to the shed when we pulled the measurements on
I
it
think the
earlier today.
dozers go up into the garage lit in front of the pad, and then off to the east, there's nothing there other than the landfill
I was just
itself.
kind of thinking about the cyclone part being out there,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
but that's way south. Okay.
Yes.
Because, yeah, the sound walls are not for stop the H2S, because that's.
No, it's not for that. It's just to make sure that we're taking care of the decibel level and that we're not disrupting any of the neighbors at the park.
So if those levels do go up, do you stop drilling for a while?
Yes, ma'am, you shut the well in and then we perform a mitigation, whether we either use a bullheading procedure where we put the gas back into the formation, then raise the mud weight, or we would vent the gas off and burn it off in a safe manner there, raising the mud, making sure that we take care of the area.
You'll be pretty close to the ESD if you need them.
Yeah, I hope not to need anybody at all, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they can't
Across the
cross the
highway.
railroad track that door.
Yeah, so like I said, worked in the area for a long time. We spent a lot of time down here in Reeves County and coming through Pecos. This company's a little bit new to the area, right? They picked up some acreage here and they just want to be a good partner in the community, so making sure that we do what we're supposed to do.
Don't forget, they have two drillings there by the ESD 1 and 2. Well, that, they were a lot closer.
Now, we do have a company coming in that's gonna be looking for flare gas.
Looking for flare gas? Yeah, that's way past my department. So I'll explain what Civitas is. They have a mission to be 100% emissions-free. We have a goal where we're headed down that path. I know that 100% in Colorado, they're emissions-free and, carbon neutral, and then we're still moving forward as that, as a company down here in Texas. So I don't live in Colorado. I've lived in Midland for about 15 years and spent a lot of time out here.
Any questions?
When is the startup?
Right here, we've got a full detail, and we can get it over to everybody as well. We're looking at splitting the well on 514 with the first rig here, and then 620 with the second rig. We would be moved out with the drilling rigs right at the end of July, about 7/27 there. The sound walls would be left up until the completions was 100% performed. The drill outs were done and the wells were flowed back, and then the sound walls would be removed after that point. That way, there wasn't there are gaps in there, and the sound walls will still be left up at that point, so you don't have to rig them up and rig them down, right? So,
Make a motion to approve the file permit.
No, I don't.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilman Arona to approve these 5 drilling permits as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. And then we'll go to item F2.
thank y'all very much for your time.
Discuss, consider entering into a production sharing agreement with Civitas Permian Operating LLC as submitted by Bison Energy Group LLC for drilling wells on or under Section 15 and 16, Block 5, H&G Railroad Company surveys, Reeves County, Texas. This is strategic goal 6, sound governance and fiscal management. Parker Johnson.
So, we did receive this production sharing agreement presented to us. I've gone over it. I could probably explain it in a basic manner, but if we have the Civitas reps here, that's it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're probably going to divert to you. I have not seen the partner sharing agreement, right? It's a different functionality. We wanted to make sure that we got got in front of y'all so y'all understood 100% what the plan was to keep the community safe. But that's probably well out of bounds for me to be discussing that part.
So what we're looking at here, there's effectively they're looking to have a bunch of different landowners and lease owners kind of join together and share in the production of one another. It seems like there's quite a bit out there. I don't know which ones are producing and which ones aren't, or if there's planned production on some versus others. It appears there's going to be a lot of horizontal drilling, and this gives the benefit to if they go under your land or under your lease, you share in some of that production even if they don't drill on your property. So if they go across you, you make something out of it that you would not have made otherwise. On the flip side, it looks like if the drilling was going to be on your land, you're sharing with some of the others that they went through. So I mean, I can see both sides of it. It just depends on, do we have the well sites on our land, on our leases, or are they on the neighbors, and we want to benefit from it? I couldn't tell you which ones have it and which ones don't.
Okay, so I can probably comment a little bit about this. It's truly what they call pooling, right? So when you discuss pooling itself, what you do is to put a tract together, there's several landowners within a section, right? I know that part of the city of Pecos owns, I believe it's in section northwest section of 15. What it is it allows you to go ahead and make it economically to drill through a section. So for these wells here, they're going to be 2 miles, which is equivalent to 10,000 foot of lateral. And then what it'll be done is the reserves are kind of split up between the partners in the well or the landowners in the well themselves. If you only drilled a vertical well, the production, and it wouldn't, just where they drilled into your property, wouldn't be as beneficial in itself, right? It's so that we can tie it all together.
It seems very similar to pooling or
Yeah, I think it's exactly what it is for the pooling.
It does say in there expressly, though, that the owners do not intend by the execution of this instrument to pool or commutize the interest that they own or may own with the others. So it expressly says it's not pooling, but it is.
I think it's a similar fashion to the same thing.
If you're lucky enough to see the development plan, like and see the wells and how they traverse tracks, you could say this is beneficial for the city of Pecos. And
Yeah, and it could be that
Yeah.
we make money we wouldn't have made otherwise. It could be that we lose a little portion of what we might have made if we kept it all to ourselves. Without seeing and knowing where the production is, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
Royalty owner.
Yeah, we own some of the leaseholds out there. They'll have the proposed agreement. It has on the exhibit on the end, some of the tracts that are owned by the city throughout.
So how much is the royalty or? how is that
I
determined?
can't speak to that, ma'am.
So this one the royalties you own are still your royalties. This just shares a fraction of it with, a fraction of it with, it depends how many tracks they go through. It's a fractional interest of how long is the total horizontal and how much of that total length do you own, and you get that fraction of the production.
So it could be
Yeah.
$1.
If you have a small, very, very small.
Yeah, it'd have to be very small.
25 if you own a big part.
Yeah.
It's not a working interest. We don't have to share in the cost.
I believe that's correct, yes.
It's all.
Yeah, so the amount of acreage that you have that is produced in that section, I believe what you're saying is, it's not a true pooling thing. It's divided out by fractional off the minerals themselves.
Whatever fractional portion of the whole horizontal line goes through your property.
Understood. Yeah, I have not reviewed that.
It may be something that we want to have their rep come and tell us, hey, does this benefit us specifically, or are we one of the landowners that's going to be divvying up what we might have otherwise made? I think that's a question I'd want answered before we execute.
I guess we'll be to table it until we get the
If
representative.
they're-
We would be happy to make sure Civitas's legal department and the landmen are aware of this and get you something that's
Yeah,
more
there was
detailed.
a project manager named Darren Zamora who sent
Okay.
us.
Yes.
Says he's with Bison Energy though, but.
Right. I'm not sure if that's a different company that we have a
Yeah,
joint
so,
interest with,
yeah,
or.
Bison Energy was one of the companies that was collaborating together. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, someone that has the specifics on what production is out there can come and tell us.
Yeah, we can, like I said, we came down here to make sure that everybody was on the same page about being safe. We'll let somebody else speak to that as well, if y'all are fine with that. We'll get the message back to them, that
So,
we can
yeah,
give
I
it to
don't
you.
mind postponing this to the next meeting and seeing if we can get the rep here and they can give you a better breakdown.
Sounds great.
Make the motion to postpone. F2.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilwoman Sills, a second from Councilman Arona to table this until we get more specific information, possibly next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. We'll go to item F3, presentation of the Pecos Housing Authority 2024 Annual Report, Strategic Goal 5, promote open and consistent communications. John Salcedo, Pecos Housing Authority.
Mayor and Council, Charles Lino, John is not here tonight. He did drop these off as part of the Housing Authority with the requirement that they share this information once they get it with the council. This is their financial presentation. I do not know if you all have had a chance to review it. I'm probably not going to be the best one to answer the questions. I can tell you that I did look at it and haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Salcido about it because there's some things in there that I would question and just ask for clarification on.
Can we just
Postpone this until he can
postpone
be
it
here.
until he shows up?
I do not have a problem with that at all.
Let's take care of that.
I'll make a motion to postpone.
Okay. I have a motion from Councilwoman Sills to postpone this presentation until a later date. Second from Councilman Arona. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Before we get into that one, Mayor, I'll make a motion to postpone that board.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay. So I need to read it, right? Okay, item F4, discuss, consider a request from the Pecos Housing Authority to waive the 2024 payment in lieu of taxes. Strategic Goal 6, sound government and fiscal management. John Salcedo, Pecos Housing Authority. I have a motion from Councilman Arona, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo to table this until a later date. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Go to item F5, discuss, consider resolution 24-04-01R, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Taft Associates, Inc. in the amount of $152,365 for professional planning and design for a conceptual master plan for Bessie Haynes Park. Strategic Goal 8, create a resilient, sustainable community. Holly Girardi, Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Holly Jockey Community Services. In your packet You have a resolution as well as a professional services agreement with Half Associates, Inc. For the professional planning and design for the City of Pecos conceptual master plan for Bessie Haynes. The Pecos Independent School District graciously gave us the Bessie Haynes old school land as well as the gym. And we have been going back and forth, myself and Mary Carmen, in trying to decide the best route to take advantage of these 13.2 acres of property. We reviewed our professional services agreement that we had sent out, professional services qualifications, and it outlines and has vetted several different providers of engineering, surveying, etc. And we selected Half Associates because they brought the best to the table. They are going to involve the residents, the stakeholders, the local entities to ensure that this particular community park meets the needs of this community and exceeds expectations. We have budgeted this. This is in our actually in our capital outlay budget, and this particular $152,365 includes Exhibit A, which is in your packet. There's Task 1 and Task 2. There's quite a bit there, so I'm sure y'all haven't had a chance to go through it all, but what we did do is we did request a representative to come in from Half Associates, Mr. Toby Fox. He's the landscape architect project manager for Half Associates, and he's here, and he's going to provide a little bit of a display of some of their services that they provide.
I'm just going to ask one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go out for an RFP or anything?
No, ma'am. So when the city sends out every 2 years the request for qualifications and fully vets these entities, we take advantage of that for these services. That's exactly what we did. So these people provide us with their expertise via a package outlining the things that we have in our qualification request, I believe. And we found there was 3 companies actually that we reached out to. Half and Associates actually responded.
The other ones didn't?
One of them did. He did not provide us acceptable information back. The things that he shared with us were weren't going to meet the needs of this particular area. But we did speak to who was already vetted through our pre-existing qualification process, yes. And this resolution is the beginning. So the design services that are outlined in Task 1 and Task 2, which are quite extensive, is the beginning. We want to make sure when we're designing this park, we're designing it with the community in mind. And we chose, because it is so large, that a master plan for this particular location would be the best route to go.
So the other company, did you score them? What did you do?
So yes, the city sends out a request for qualifications for engineering, architectural, landscaping, utilities, etc. And then those come in and they are scored, and then they are put in a spreadsheet and provided to us to utilize and to reach out to, which we take advantage of quite often. There's a multitude of engineering services, architectural services that we currently use, Park Hill, Frank Spencer, WTC, are some of the few. We utilize all of them first. The scoring system that we have in place, we ask them to meet an expectation. They do, based on what they provide to us.
I just didn't see a scoring sheet.
No, that's actually something that y'all saw when they send out the request for qualifications, and they submit that via a resolution, I believe. Yeah. And it's, yes, and it's done every 2 years.
But I think Vanessa's question, Holly, is with the other one submittal that you received that you said was not.
It was incomplete.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's what she's asking, though. She wasn't asking on that one.
So we reached out to 3 of them. one of them did not respond at all. One of them, it was incomplete. Yes. And Hoff and Associates actually were able,
That's what I'm saying, there's not a sheet showing us that that's what happened in the process.
for us.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, we don't know what process you went through unless we have something here to look at.
I understand.
It puts us in a
And-
hard,
Pardon?
a rock in a hard place to go ahead and accept it and approve it when we don't know what else was submitted.
What else
Get what
was
I'm saying?
considered?
Yes, so what we specifically asked, we sent out an email and specifically asked for them to respond and provide us the information. One company did not.
Okay, you know that, we don't.
Correct. And would you, okay, yes, yeah, I thought that you were asking that again.
Yes.
Just kind of going a different way.
Okay.
Different route, same.
So unfortunately, no, ma'am, you're correct. And it is budgeted.
That's a good thing.
So you've got somebody from HAF here?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Landscaping.
He's a landscape architect project manager with Half and Associates, Toby Fox. And he does have a presentation to show samples of their work. And he can also answer any other questions aside from, aside from what you've asked.
Ready?
Yes, sir. Please, Toby, thank you.
Is it that way to
Yes.
move forward?
Correct.
Thank you, council, for having me. My name is Toby Fox. I'm a landscape architect out of Austin. I'm here to kind of show you some of the work examples. I've put together some slides that show parks of a similar size that we have master planned and/or constructed. The total fee that we have in front of you includes the master planning effort as well as a surveying effort to actually survey the piece of property so that it's ready to go as soon as y'all adopt a master plan for that part. Y'all can put it out to have construction documents created so that it can be constructed. So I'll show you some pictures of what a master plan looks like for our parks. This is a park in the city of Lockhart. It's a master plan that included play facilities, a splash pad, sand volleyball court, several other amenities. And this project has not been actually constructed. It's just at the master plan phase. Here's some renderings of what it could look like. I will say that in our master planning effort, what we typically do and what we have outlined in your packet there is that we work with Holly and work with y'all to identify stakeholders for this park and interview representatives of those stakeholder groups. We also hold public meetings that are advertised where the general public can come, and we engage them in activities that they'd like to see available at this park. From that point on, what we do is create a couple of different scenarios, come back and have another meeting with the same folks, and they may pick some stuff from concept A and they may pick some stuff from concept B, and we go back and put everything together into a final concept.
So has this concept been accepted by
Yes,
the park?
it has.
So how long is that process from start to finish?
Typically, it depends on how much public engagement's involved, but we're looking at about 6 months from start to finish
Just for the
for the master plan.
gathering of the community input?
Well, and creating the actual concepts. Correct. So this one's the Lions Park master plan. The next one on here, we have some master plan graphics as well as some actual construction, pictures of it actually constructed. So the next one is in the city of Waxahachie. It's a rail yard park. Close to the old railroad trestle. This one is a big amphitheater project. And so we kind of showing some 3D views down to this amphitheater. There's another different look. The picnic areas. And we kind of ghosted everybody out so you can see there's not a bunch of people blocking your view, but this is what it looks like constructed. This is the amphitheater.
Is this a finished product?
Yes. Yes, it is. So they have movie nights in the park, community events. This also has a splash pad right there in the middle. That's pretty. That's kind of what I put together for y'all, just so you could kind of see.
Is this one already built?
Yes, this is a
That's
what's out there now. Yes, sir.
It'd be nice to have something looking like that in our park.
Bring grass?
Wait a minute, I haven't gotten onto the grass.
Yeah, it's.
We need, for the east side, that'd be great, something like that, if we see what they can work out, if that's how we're gonna go.
And I think once the master plan is developed and we get input from the community, I know that I've had conversations with the superintendent, and he's wanting to partner with the city to make sure that it gets done the right way. So I think we will bear a burden, but I think the school's going to be able to assist us with some of the stuff and want to partner with us on that. That's his commitment.
So this plan will take into the fact that we have the gymnasium or the event center there, whatever we're going to call it.
Yes, ma'am.
How big is I can't remember, how big is the gym? I mean, say about 5,000 square feet maybe?
It's a little larger than
I
that.
can't remember.
It is a little bit bigger than
Yeah.
that. It's a full-size gym,
Yeah.
and it has a stage on it, as well as 2 additional classrooms that are off to the back,
Fairly
as well as restrooms.
But just that whole area, because, back when I was a young whippersnapper, I used to hang out there. Because that was the park
Yeah.
before Bessie thing. Had a swimming pool, had everything.
They had chariot races back
I don't say much because. But it'd be a nice addition to have, in our community on that side.
Yeah.
And
Much needed.
Yeah.
But we go by what the public says, kind of consensus. So can I vote for a swimming pool?
When we do the public outreach and we have our public meeting,
Okay.
yes. So yeah, we create a bunch of printed boards that we set up with example activities, and people put stickers on them, things that they like, and we compile that into a spreadsheet on what's most wanted.
Most requested.
Right, correct. And then we work with y'all to make sure that y'all are okay with that.
Yeah, some people have some really big ones.
Sure, exactly, exactly.
So Ms. Holly,
Yes, sir.
this company is the only one that responded that from the others. When you said one didn't respond at all, and the other one wasn't.
It wasn't complete. It was incomplete. We did ask them to provide us some current examples and some pricing structures so that we could make a fair assessment. We didn't receive any of that. We did receive some visuals, but they were They were very minimal. They were based on very small projects. And we're just trying to make the right move, the best move for the city and for the community. It is on the east side, so I think that's very important that we take that in consideration, as well as the fact that the school has provided us this property, and it's a great opportunity to start with a blank slate, but do it correctly, you know. And yeah, I know the community's going to want all kinds of things. You know, we have some great ideas also, but we have literally held off for many months, so that we've been working on it for many months, trying to identify the best route to take and what was what we had in our funding. And we have the funding in our capital outlay, but it's going to take more than that to do it correctly.
How much more?
How much more do we have?
How much more is it going to take?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but, so, this is a project that is going to be in phases. It's going to, depending on what the school is wanting to provide, we have allocated enough money to keep this project going and growing, so that we can add the necessary improvements at least over the next 3 years.
And that's one thing that in fact, that I think we've done pretty well here lately, is we push projects forward, not just wait and think and talk. Look at what happened with the Cyclone Park. 8 years before that thing got built and triple the price.
Yes.
So, I don't know if you're gonna look for some more, is that what we're asking, to look for somebody else also, another plan?
If they put it out for qualifications, and three did sort of respond, if one didn't really have all the information, and one, whatever
And
the situation was on their one, then they at least went out to three. It's just that we didn't know that.
Yeah.
That information wasn't provided to us.
Well, and I can say that when I was at the groundwater district, I worked with Half and Associates on a software program, and all their people are very, very conscientious, and they do what they say they're supposed to do.
Thank you. Very much.
They did for us, so, I mean.
I'm always happy to hear that.
Saying that, if we don't have any more questions, I'd like to make the motion that we approve. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
On this, cost, it says it's optional, the design survey.
So typically with a master plan, we don't include the actual design survey where they come and survey the actual park. So that's typically what happens once we get into construction. And we put it in there as optional because Holly was wanting that survey to be done at the same time, so that when we were done with the master plan and it's adopted, that's the master plan for this park, you could go directly into construction documents without having to spend the 3-ish months to get it surveyed. So it was kind of just preemptively doing the design survey so that it's ready to go once you're.
I asked for that so that we did talk about trying to consolidate the time. And that was why I asked for it, because it was going to cut off. I didn't want to take it beyond 6 months if at all possible. We really want to see this project move, if adopted.
No more question, I make the motion that we approve Resolution 25-04-02R, presented by Claudia Durante, Director of Community Services.
01.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Graham to approve Resolution 25-05-01R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. And can I note that on the resolution for that, my name is misspelled. I don't have an H in my name. Okay. Item F6, discuss, consider Resolution 25-04-02R, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a purchase agreement with TD Industries in the amount of $293,561.52 to install 3 new HVAC 10-ton units and 6 hamper units, including a budget amendment for capital outlay. Strategic Goal 7, enhance Pecos' infrastructure network. Holly Jiraki, Director of Community Services.
Mayor, Council, thank you. The resolution and packet includes the full bid package for TD Industries. Back in 2019, when we moved into this building, we had engineers come in mechanical, electrical, plumbing, et cetera, and they gave us some background on life expectancy of what was pre-existing in this building. The 3 10-ton units apparently were installed around 1985, and they obviously were at their life when we moved into this building. We've managed to now go into our 6th year into this building, and it was highly recommended that we start seriously looking at upgrading our 3 10-ton units. The 3 10-ton units are what services this lobby area, everything down in this location. It would include the air handler. There's 6 air handler units that would be tied to these particular units. It is a process. You see the expense on it. That's primarily because cranes are involved, or a crane would be involved. We started working on this project last year, put it in our capital outlay budget so that we could go ahead and start working towards updating. The issue we're having, we currently have TD Industries who manages all of our preventive maintenance for all of our facilities, everything. What's great about TD Industries, they charge us a one-time, very small fee to come out here and take care of anything and everything within less than 24-hour notice. They have been an outstanding vendor, I have to say. They are part of the buy board system who have been fully vetted as well. They're meaning that they're highly competitive with the competitive vendors out there. When preparing for this, we did invite, and this has been over a year, but we had tried to utilize other companies. It wasn't, they shied away. These are large units. We have a lot of units. We have over 13 units on our building. But the primary reason I'm bringing it to you is because we are now faced with exorbitant costs of repair. So when something goes down on some of these pieces of equipment, getting the parts because they're antiquated. Can they get them? Sometimes they can. Our thermostats, sometimes there's a ghost in them. So by updating that, we're going to also be allowed to be a lot more efficient inside our lobby. Additionally, when we have people working over here that are cold and people that are working over here that are hot, we now have a variable system where those thermostats are now going to be able to be, they can be on heat and cool at the same time. And I know that's a big deal here. It is a big deal here. It is. Somebody's freezing or somebody is hot. It just is just how it is. So, where are they going to bring the crane? Well, yes. Well, you know, we have the overhead lines here. The crane obviously is going to have to go above this and bring it into. Can they do it? Yeah, they can.
Because these on this side we can de-energize.
Yeah.
Without affecting customers or.
More than likely, it will be on the Cypress side. The units are placed almost central on top of the roof. Yeah, that's.
Maybe borrow one from school.
They have 2, don't they? 3, 2?
I got 3.
Yeah.
What kind of time frame for when are they looking at getting this done?
So if this resolution is approved, we want to be very careful about how quickly we move. It's, you know, because it's so hot here in the summertime, the last thing we want to do is inconvenience any of our staff. We are, upon getting approval of this, we're going to sit down and make sure that we're very careful in the scheduling. I'm really wanting to push, I'm wanting to push further into September versus through our summer. considering the type of work that they have to do. The 6 air handler units are in multiple areas downstairs here. And not that they would actually interfere with people coming in and out. It's more so that the system's got to be down long enough for them to start tying in everything that goes with the new systems.
Now, these units up here, I worked up here 15 years, and they're very reliable as far as, they're going to be down 3 to 4 weeks during the summer. So I just sweat through that.
Here?
Yes.
Oh,
here.
so far, we have been very lucky. TD Industries has come in at a moment's notice for absolutely everything. We found out that we we don't have a variable heating option because the heat would be on in the code area and the air conditioner would be on here or vice versa. Come to find out, they're tied to the same air handler system. They talk to each other, meaning, if something changes on one, it shoots an arrow into the other. It creates, it can create additional problems. There's the thermostat system here is you have to know, 20 graphics to identify what's what. So the warranty is you have the manufacturer warranty on the equipment itself. What that means is usually about a year, up to 3, depending on what that is. Right now, we haven't selected the actual equipment. We know that this is within the price line of the equipment we need. We're not going to get Linux, and we're not going to get something as, I asked for that years ago. I had a Linux. Nobody could get it. That thing lasted, 40 years too. You got 40 years, and it's, the reality is they're going to maintain this equipment for us and keep it in top operational condition, so long as, the preventive maintenance is a big deal. Moving parts needs to be maintained.
Have they come out this year already?
They're out here, yes, so they come out and change out all the filters, clean the filters. We have them on a commercial plan. They come out to our commercial properties once a month, Mary Carmen?
Yes.
And to our employee housing, I believe twice to, depending. If we need them more, they'll come out more, but we have them set up on a biannual, I believe. But everything has filter changes, everything. Now, I did, just so you know, it's in the resolution, we did budget just a little over 200,000. This did come in over, but we do have the funds in our facilities to cover the additional costs.
May I make a motion to approve 6, 25-04-02R as presented?
I'll second.
Have a motion from Councilman Arona, a second from Councilman Saldana to approve Resolution 25-04-02R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Discuss, consider Resolution 25-04-03R, a resolution awarding a bid and authorizing the city manager to negotiate contracts for the Meadowbrook Sewer Line and North F, North Hickory, Tumbleweed, and Warehouse Lift Station Replacement Project, Strategic Goal 7, Enhance Pecos Infrastructure Network, Calvin Ridgely, Public Works Director.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Kelvin Ridgely, Director of Public Works. As the mayor stated so eloquently, this is a budgeted item. We are here today to award these well overdue, projects to our respective bidders. First, I want to thank every organization for taking the time to bid. We really appreciate it. We'll get right to it, if that's okay. The Meadowbrook Sewer Line Replacement and Tumbleweed Lift Station Replacement will go to West Texas Consultants, LLC. North F Street Lift Station Replacement will go to EHT. North Hickory Lift Station Replacement will go to Frank Spencer and Associates. Warehouse Lift Station Replacement will go to Park Hill, Smith, and Cooper. Are there any questions?
Glad you're sharing it.
Yes, I am. I thought that would be appreciated. You see my angle.
Make a motion to approve 2504
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilwoman Seal, to approve Resolution 25-04-03R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item F8, discuss, consider Resolution 25-04-04R, a resolution awarding a bid and authorizing the city manager to negotiate contracts for the West Pecos Water System Project, Strategic Goal 7, Enhance Pecos Infrastructure Network. Kelvin Ridgely, Public Works Director.
Good afternoon again, Mayor, Council. Kelvin Ridgely, Director of Public Works. As you just read, this is the opportunity to award some of the work that's going to be happening with the well field. I brought Ted Tompkins, the engineer from WTC, to expound on the resolution that's in front of you.
You should have 4 letters there. There's 4 specific scopes of work. With a job this size, it made sense to divide it up to get certain trades and types of contractors to bid on some of the work and not the other parts. So we had scope 1 was the well field, to drill the wells. There's 14 wells, and that the low qualified bidder that was fully responsive was M5 Utilities LLC. Nomad Drilling is the company that did the monitor wells, but they did not provide a bid bond, weren't able to get it in time. So we weren't able to award to them. They were the lowest, but M5 was next, and they are a qualified bidder. We checked them out. And yes, ma'am.
Were there other bidders?
There was one other that was quite higher, a hydro. There was 3 bidders on this particular scope of work, and so this was the lowest qualified. Yes, ma'am.
I guess I'm going to do you the same thing I did Holly.
Okay.
It'd be nice to kind of see these in our packet.
I have a very detailed bid tab. I'm certainly happy to provide it.
You know, when we're only presented kind of one option,
Yes, ma'am.
that's not a choice.
I can tell
We're only
you-
presented one option.
Okay.
Charles, you've looked at them.
Fair.
Well, I was on the review committee, and we did look at the bid openings. I did sit here with staff. And the way the RFP was put together is, this is the USDA project that we have the grant and the loan with. And part of their requirements were there was going to be an RFP with the lowest qualified bidder to receive the award. We did verify that with the USDA while we were doing it. We did have 2 staff from the USDA down here to verify and watch the bid opening. And we went through the process, and there is a bid tabulation sheet with everybody there that showed who was qualified, who was not qualified. There were a couple of nuances, and I initially said, no, it's not qualified because they didn't submit the complete package. USDA confirmed it and asked their attorney, reached out to their attorneys to get that confirmation. So the way the process went is exactly the way that it's intended via our procurement rules and regulations.
So the USDA just says you absolutely have to go for the lowest bid?
That's the way the RFP was. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And so there's no.
Councilwoman Seals, I did talk to the USDA quite at length about the potential for a best value award not this one particularly, but in, for lack of a better word, argued with them a little bit. And they, it's got to go to the lowest qualified. So I was helped to understand that.
Their way of highway.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is exactly right. So this is number one. The number two scope is the pipeline, which is the biggest piece. And we did have the same issue there. Sky Blue Utilities is the lowest qualified. That one was complicated because we had some alternates and different things, and so it took a minute to really get to the bottom of what was the low bid. And then we did have Charger Services was an apparent low, but non-responsive because they also were not able to provide a bid bond. They did provide an irrevocable letter of credit, which we've discussed at length with USDA as well, and we're told it wouldn't be acceptable. So Sky Blue is a contractor that we have not worked with before. However, I did quite a bit of calling around about them and talked at length with them about the scope, and I feel pretty good about them. They did a project relatively recently over near Abilene area, kind of that was quite a lot larger than this project, and did a good job. So the engineer for that had good things to say about them. So I do feel comfortable with Sky Blue as a contractor. So they were the low, and we checked them out at length and feel good about awarding to them. Scope 3 was the tanks. The low bidder is Tejas Construction, and we've worked with them quite a lot. They probably worked here too in town before. They were the low, and we have quite a long history with them and feel comfortable with Tejas. Let me back up to address a little more detail, Councilwoman Seal. On the pipeline, we had a lot. I don't know the exact number. It was like 10-ish bids on that one. There was one that was really high. There was the one that was the apparent low didn't have the proper bid security, and then Sky Blue was next low, and but then there was a pretty big gap between them and the next group, and the rest of them were right in a band together. So I feel like this is a good bid. It is definitely lower than the median bid. I mean, if you throw out the high one, it was just not serious. And you look at where everybody else bid, Sky Blue was a little chunk below that. So I feel like it's a very competitive bid. They are, from what I've been able to figure out, a good contractor. Okay, Scope 3. So again, Tejas, there was 3 bids. They were relatively close together. They were all pretty decent bids. Dowtech, M5, and Tejas. And so Tejas was the low. They came in a little worried because they were probably, 15-20% lower than the next, and we looked at the bid, and there was a particular item that was high on another bid that when we talked through anyway. They were very comfortable with their bid once we went through it, and excited to do the job. And like I said, we have a lot of experience with them, and they're a good contractor. Okay, Scope 4 was the pump station. This one had 4 bids. Texas Water and Soil was low. They were responsive, and we've worked with them very recently. They redid the whole wastewater plant in Seagraves and did a good job on that project. And I've talked to
some other people in the industry about them previous to that project, and they had very good references. So I would recommend them. We did get a bid also from M5. There's a company called Tally that was the same company that was high on the pipe, and they were pretty high on this. I believe Dowtech and Texas Water and Soil. So they were the low, and they weren't terribly low compared to a couple of the other bids. It was pretty close, but it was a good competitive bid, and like I said, they're a good contractor. So I do like this group. I think it's going to be a good group of contractors, and I think everybody's excited to get started. And certainly, I know probably more than anybody you guys are. It's been quite a while since this kicked off, so we're certainly excited to get started too.
So are these bids, I mean, are they pretty locked into these amounts, barring something that's totally out of their control or anything that we knew about?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, it should be good. Now, I will say that some of the discussions I've had since the bids were submitted on doing some value engineering, I believe there's a good chance that there's some areas that we could potentially save a little bit off of what this is. So that's a goal that we have, and that's going to be a pretty serious effort as soon as we have these guys in place.
I guess something everyone's a little concerned with is depending on where product's coming from and tariffs are going to hit.
Okay, that's a great point, and that should not affect this job at all, because it is Build America, Buy America requirement. And everything has to be sourced in the U.S. That's just the rule. It's the requirement of the USDA program, and it is we used to have to go by what's called American Iron and Steel, which is similar, but this is that was certain products, certain things, certain industries. Some things were exempt. Blah blah. This is pretty much everything is required. So it's the BABA is whatever, kind of the term that they're using to refer to it, but it's Build America, Buy America. And I did have a couple of questions about, we don't know about tariff price, and I said, well, I mean, that doesn't matter, right? Because it's Build America, Buy America. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, good. And, click, they hang up. So it shouldn't matter. Now, that's like, probably a micro view of it. Who knows how that sort of thing, if it affects pricing, but it is required to be sourced in the U.S., and there's quite a lot of documentation that has to be done for that as well.
And from that standpoint, these are firm bids. If we change the scope of work, then that will change. Otherwise, this is their number.
Right.
If they underbid it, that's on them, not on us.
And this paperwork that you're required, is that on them to?
It's both. We'll do some. We will. They have to provide things to us, and we'll kind of put it all together and submit it to the USDA. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I guess they have to have bonds.
Oh, yes, sir.
So the bonds.
Yeah. The payment and performance bonds for the full amount of the job. Now, the bid bond was, I think it's 5% or something of their bid. I can't remember that number. I probably should know that, but I'm not sure. 5, okay. 5% of the bid amount. If they, like, for example, if they bid and you wanted to award them and they were low or whatever, and they backed out and said, we're not going to sign the contract, then you could execute the bid bond at that time. But once they get the contract, the full-blown work, it's 100% payment bond and 100% performance bond. Yes, sir.
The only thing that I will have to add to the way the resolution was done is right now, we're waiting on some items from the USDA. So my recommendation, and I think Chad's going to say the same thing, is I think I wouldn't be, if council sees it fit to go ahead and award this, it has to be awarded contingent upon the finalized approval from USDA, which will happen it should happen in the next week. But when we had the conversations with Kendra and with the USDA, she said it shouldn't hold it up, that you could award it contingent upon getting their final approval. So, I mean, we could either bring it back or award it my recommendation is that if council sees fit, that we go ahead and award it, and we won't execute any contracts until we get that approval from USDA.
Any other questions? With that being said, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-04-04R, contingent on final approval from the USDA.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Sills, a second from Councilman Arona, to approve Resolution 25-04-04R as presented with the contingency on there. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to item F10, discussion of Pecos Economic Development Corporation land acquisition, program updates, and proposed grant funding. Strategic Goal 5, promote open and consistent communications. Charles Leno, City Manager.
Mayor and Council, Charles Leno, City Manager. This has a lot of items that were put on there intentionally like that, a whole laundry list of items, because we were waiting, especially, we did do and talk about the land acquisition from TxDOT at our last meeting. I just wanted to reaffirm it in public that we've already received a letter from TxDOT that they're going to move forward with that. The EDC is paying for that land, and that's where the tire shredder's going to go at some point in time. It had to flow through us in order to get done because the state won't negotiate with the EDC. And we approved it last time, but I just want to give you an update on that. As far as the programs, there's a whole lot of projects that are going on that the EDC is involved in. Most of them are still, I was hoping that we'd hear about one of them, and maybe two of them we did not yet, so it's kind of up in the air. I put it on here kind of preemptively because I was hoping to get on, have those conversations. It's one of the reasons why Jimmy and I talk more than I really like sometimes, but we do. And that's probably both ways. I mean, he's probably thinking the same. And as far as the grants go, Joseph is working on like 4 grants right now, Joseph Fiescas. We were hoping to hear back from one early this week. It hasn't. It's been extended. So I don't have an update there. So this is kind of a, besides talking about the land, I don't have a whole lot to add on this meeting, but we just want to make sure that we're keeping Mayor and Council up to speed on some of the items that are going on, because it's fast and furious. We're having different conversations and everything. I can say that Jimmy's very good about keeping me in the middle of everything, which is good from both sides. I need to know what's going on, but I kind of put this one on here with the hope that we would have more information to share, but we don't have it tonight, so.
So it's great news about the tire shredder
Yeah.
moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't get that in here soon enough.
Amen. Any other questions for me, or Jimmy's here, so you can throw stones if need be, so. No. It's just right off of here, off of 2nd Street, Randy. It'll be right against the railroad tracks, right behind, I think it's right around Quick Stop, right behind it, right, Jimmy, somewhere right back over there. The former TxDOT land that they have there. Any other questions? Very good. Thank you.
Do we have anything? No executive session?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so do we have items for our next meeting?
F2, 3, and 4 are postponed. I don't know if they need to come back the next time or if it will have to be at a later date, depending on the information.
Also, Mayor, February the 18th, which is next Friday. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. April Fools. April 18th, it's Lineman's Appreciation Month for all line workers. I'd like to see if we can, I know it'll be the following Thursday that we have to do, but I'd like to see if we can do a proclamation acknowledging the work that these guys do. Sometimes it's a very thankless job, and it's in the middle of the night. I've done it myself for many years.
Sarah, you got that?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, take care. She's my proclamation girl.
I better make it short because Parker's looking at me like you're discussing it, cut it out.
Anything else for our next meeting?
When's the last time we got some financials on the ball fields?
Just a
Yeah.
couple of meetings ago.
Last meeting, I think, Randy, but we'll have some, I'll have you some next week.
Was there financials in that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I'll get you some more. We can have them. They send them to me every month. So I'll share those with you. Plus, we'll give you financials in consent agenda for the city.
Anything else? Okay. It is 7:25. We adjourn this meeting.